Hey everyone, it's Maureen from Mosie Baby. Today we're going to talk about your cervical mucus. Ladies, your vagina is trying to communicate with you through all that lovely gooey fluid that ends up on your underwear. That is your cervical mucus. Throughout your monthly cycle, I'm sure you've noticed some changes, the biggest being when you get your period. Prior to trying to make a baby, I really never paid attention to anything else but my period. Little by little, I started educating myself and decoding the messages my vagina was sending me. When your body is ready to make a baby, it will tell you. Your cervix will change, and so will your cervical fluid. Like tracking your cervix, tracking your cervical mucus is an excellent way to confirm when you're ovulating. It can also tell you some information about yourself and predict your horoscope. Just kidding. But it can tell you vital information about the health of your vagina. First things first, how do you find that mucus? Unless you're super ooey gooey and it's all over your underwear, you're gonna have to dip your finger in your vagina. Just a little dip is usually enough. What do you see? Depending on where you are in your cycle, your fluid will look different. Take a moment to assess its color, its stickiness to your fingers, and whether or not it's wet or clumpy. Here's where you might want to take notes. I'd suggest using an app if you aren't already. I've put links to a couple of my favorites in the notes below. When you're fertile, your fluid will be extra gooey, super clear, and wet, and will potentially stick from one finger to the other, creating a lovely gooey strand between the two. This usually happens around cycle day 12 or so, getting more pronounced as ovulation approaches. The wetter you are, the more gooey you are, the more clear you are, the better your chances are for conceiving. When you are not fertile, your fluid will be different depending on where you are in your cycle, but it will almost always be a little bit clumpier, whiter, and more dense than when you are fertile. I could go on and on about your fluid and what it can reveal about your overall health, and maybe will in another video, but for now, let's focus on that fertile good stuff. You've probably heard to look for the egg white cervical mucus, and that statement is pretty accurate. To demonstrate, I have an egg. This is exactly what you'll be looking for. You may notice something like this hanging from you when you go to the bathroom or when you check. Ideally, you'll be able to stretch it between two fingers. For many women, you'll also notice wet spots on your underwear. A good sign is when the spot is more circular in shape. This is your vagina letting you know that it's ready for making babies. Now, why is it so important to identify this ideal fluid? Sperm will hitch a ride on this fluid to make its way through the cervix. It'll also provide them with the nourishment they need to survive until they meet an egg. When you're not fertile, the fluid you produce will inhibit the sperm from surviving and make it a challenge to get to your cervix. So pay attention to your vagina. It's here to help you. Hopefully, you've learned a few things about your cervical mucus and why it's important when trying to conceive. For all things home fertility, check us out at mosiebaby.com. Until then, crossing my fingers you get your big fat positive real soon.